There is a whole business of studios where you can pose and pretend you're on a luxury private jet.
Nike has come out and said they've purchased 4 counterfeit sneakers from Stockx.
These are actually from Payless.
So today we're going to be talking about luxury goods all across the board because there's been more popularity talking about luxury items, especially with some of the stories that have come out. But I think in general, it's a pretty big problem, especially with people around my age. Now, of course, buying luxury items is primarily for the status symbol, which would normally be for the ultra rich. But because we're in the days of social media, now it seems like everybody has some sort of Louis Vuitton bag, or they're driving a Mercedes, or wearing crazy expensive clothes, and it makes every other normal person want to do the exact same thing. So we're going to be going over several different topics within the luxury market. And I will say before we get into some of these stories and the clips, if you are one of the ultra rich and have so much money you don't know what to do with, this video is not for you. Go ahead, go spend thousands and thousands of dollars on Gucci shirts and Balenciaga hoodies and shoes and bags and all of that. But I'm primarily going to be talking about normal everyday people. So if you have another topic you want me to talk about in future videos, leave it in the comments down below. But we're going to get into one of them that probably had the most talking point in the past few weeks. And I'm grabbing this from a post on Instagram up on the screen right now. Italian authorities uncover that Dior spends $57 to make their $2,800 purses. Now, this has been an open secret forever, obviously. All of these very, very expensive items, any of the purses, any of the clothes, that say retail for $1,000 each. It's not like Louis Vuitton spends $900 on the materials and construction of the purse or clothes or whatever, right? And then they just mark it up a little bit to the $1,000 and they make their money on that like little 10% margin. That's just not how it works. But this is a recent story showing how unbelievably overpriced these items are for very high quality materials and handmade by like amazing designers, all of this. Here we could read through the description. According to Business Insider, luxury brands Dior and Armani paid subcontractors pennies to produce high-end handbags. An Italian investigation revealed that Dior's bags cost around $57 to make but sell for $27.80, while Armani's cost around $99 but retail for $1,900. The workers, who are supposed to be, you know, everything's handmade and super high quality and meticulously designed and manufactured, but the people who actually made these items reportedly faced poor working conditions, long hours, and a lack of safety measures, including sleeping on site to produce bags non-stop, with electricity data confirming that they work nights and holidays. So everybody condones China for their, you know, harsh working conditions to make all of our random crap that we always consume, right? They talk about child labor laws. They talk about poor working conditions, actually having nets outside of some of these warehouse factories. So when workers try to jump off the building and kill themselves, they get caught by the nets and don't end up dying. It sounds completely dystopian. That's the kind of world we live in today, and luxury brands that are supposed to be the higher quality, the nicer materials, you know, it's designed to be better and manufactured better and all of that kind of crap, are actually still just using the same people. Italian police raided some of LVMH's, which is like the conglomerate that owns a massive amount of luxury brands, uncovering that these practices were part of a broader issue involving the outsourcing of luxury manufacturing to Chinese-owned firms that exploit workers. So when you get that special bag that says made in Italy, it might be made in Italy, it might not, but most likely it's the same Chinese workers that are exploited to make iPhones and random crappy items for Temu are also making your $2,000, $3,000 handbag. And you have some of the comments on the Instagram post. They sell the brand and poor people buy it to show off to other poor people. That's been decades worth of marketing to normal people to make it feel like they're rich, but most of the time the people who end up actually buying it aren't actually super rich. I mean, the second comment actually just reiterates it. First, they sell a brand, and then second, do you know how much money they put in marketing? Because yeah, they are made better than like the cheap like little $5, $10 $1,000 crappy rinky-dink purses that you could probably find at Target, or backpacks and items along the line of that, right? But it's still not worth thousands. That's just everybody making it seem like it has more value and paying for the vanity and the privilege to have a luxury brand item. Biggest trick in the book, tricking us into think something is luxury. I mean, you could do a whole deep dive alone on the marketing, but it has gotten so good, honestly, I'm not going to lie. These people are geniuses at marketing that you're starting to get children like super, super young. I mean, you're talking about kids who have almost no concept of money just because they've never worked yet. They're just children, honestly, wanting these luxury items so bad that they are willing to steal from their parents. Now, this is another video that's pretty controversial because even though what I just said, it definitely does happen. I mean, talking about the luxury items, talking about V-Bucks in Fortnite now, all across the board, how crazy consumerism has gotten in the minds of small children now. You have this woman who I'm pretty sure has just staged this entire clip right here just for more attention, which could actually branch off into another video topic from one of you guys in the comments that I'm going to be making pretty soon, talking about morals and ethics, especially online. But we'll just run this very frustrating clip.
Definitely kidding me. You did not order that Marc Jacobs bag on my card. $600.
Well, I think it's bullshit because you get to have all of these other purses.
I'm a grown-up, and that's my money. You don't get to use my card. How did you figure out how to order one of those anyways? And you know that that's $600, correct?
Yes.
Do you not realize that 7-year-olds don't have $600 purses?
Well, sucks because I'm not them.
But you're 7. You don't get a $600 purse. Because you don't. You don't just use my stuff. You don't take my money. You don't use my card. You don't order stuff for yourself.
Well, maybe if I had enough money, then I wouldn't have done that.
Is that another package for you?
Yes.
So before I say anything about this, I'm just going to say that this is just straight up staged by the mother, which doesn't really make this whole situation better because now she's teaching her kid, which we'll get into in the next clip and talking about the comments, that this is okay to do for attention. I don't really believe that this actually happened because I feel like almost any parent, whether they're a great parent or a terrible parent, won't go up to their child like this, recording going, did you steal money from me and buy that bag? And then when she's nasty back to her mom, I mean, I would say most likely that kid would just catch a beating. And their dialogue back and forth is just poor acting. So this mom got exactly what she wanted because in the next clip, Marc Jacobs knew that this would be a good marketing tactic, especially to little kids who would watch these TikToks watching another kid get super expensive luxury items, stealing from her mom, and then we have another video like this.
I'm telling you right now that Marc Jacobs reached out to me, Amelia. They reached out to me.
They reached out to you for me, okay?
No, I promise. They said that they felt bad and they were going to send me stuff, not for you.
I'm just cutting it there because it's a longer video, but it's just, again, staged and for attention. But I mean, it worked. Now they got even more luxury bags and attention and likes on TikTok. And then Marc Jacobs gets to advertise their bags on it. Now even more people want these luxury items, even though this is overall just a pretty negative couple of videos, but clearly you could see what the intention of the mother was through this comment on one of her videos. You need to see Dr. Phil, and it is hearted by her. So this is clearly what she wants. She's trying to exploit her child to be like the Honey Boo Boo level of like bad Barbie kind of bad kid just to get money and fame from it. And I mean, it's already worked. She's gotten a free Marc Jacobs bag, a whole bunch of attention, likes, and followers, and it'll just keep rolling in like this just because she acted like being a brat online, because that's how bad she wanted luxury items. It's all a marketing scheme. And these luxury companies are so meticulous with their designs and their patterns and their materials that, you know, there's whole giant fake markets of it, which we'll get to in a little bit later in the video. But apparently, even with these world famous designs, some of these large companies don't even know how to tell the authentics from the replicas of their own brand, when it is literally their job to do so.
This letter was handed to me by a private investigator for Louis Vuitton who had driven to the Outer Cape in the middle of February at 7 o'clock in the morning to hand it to me. And she said, "Hi, I'm from Louis Vuitton, and I'm here about your counterfeiting operation. And I said, my counterfeiting operation? What do you mean? And second, nothing's counterfeit. It was a authentic bag that I cut up and I made it into wallets and sold the wallets. That was it. There's nothing counterfeit about it. You can call it upcycling, you can call it recycling, but I wasn't selling them as Louis Vuitton. They had seen my video and saw that I was selling the wallets that I made out of it, and so they bought one. And it was one of, I think, 8 total that I sold. And when they got it, they determined that the Louis Vuitton fabric that I was using for the wallet was fake. A good thing to do with Louis Vuitton bags, or any real bags that you cut apart to make into other things, is to save the handles, save, Louis Vuitton will have serial number on the inside, on a tag usually. You can save that. If they come to you, you can say, well, you're wrong. Here's the proof. And I had that. So I read him off everything, and I said, I don't know how you decided that it was fake fabric, but it's real. And he goes, well, we decided it was fake fabric because it didn't have the rubber lining on the back. I said, yeah, I used a heat gun to peel it off. And he goes, wait, what? I said, it's not rocket scientist. It's just, I just used a heat gun and peeled the rubber backing off so it was thinner so I could use it as a wallet shell. And he goes, oh, I've never seen that before. And I was like, interesting. Quite the fraud department there.
So Louis Vuitton doesn't even know the difference between their authentic and fake monograms now. And everything that he does with his business and in the video is completely legal. You're allowed to take bags and rip them apart and be able to use those materials to make different items. Now, he wasn't selling it under like the new one-of-one Louis Vuitton wallet. He was selling it as his own branded wallet, but it also just had Louis Vuitton materials on it. And that is completely legal. But I mean, if luxury companies like this can't even differentiate in their own fraud department, how are people taking these brands so seriously and believing that these are worth thousands and thousands of dollars each? Right here we have an absolute classic, the Payless Prank. If you've never seen this before, this one is definitely eye-opening.
The experiment making headlines by the chain Payless Shoes. They held a grand opening of a luxury store with a different name but the same shoes, and charged hundreds more for those same shoes. Customers paid. Here's ABC's Kana Whitworth.
Behold, Palessi.
We built a fake luxury store in Los Angeles and filled it with Payless shoes. The guests at our grand opening party had no idea.
Guests invited to check out what looked like a luxury shoe shop.
They're elegant, sophisticated.
I just think it's so classy.
And I could tell it was made with high quality material.
A $35 shoe going for $645, an 1,800% markup. Store owners sat on their heels as fashion influencers emptied their wallets.
I would pay $400, $500. Yeah, people are gonna be like, where'd you get those? Those are amazing.
Then they're let in on the prank.
These are actually from Payless.
You've got to be kidding me.
Shut up. Are you serious?
But those shoppers were refunded their money and they got to keep the shoes.
Those type of influencers have to be some of the worst people to deal with, like the worst in the entire world. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just doing it strictly on status because it is actually mid to low quality shoes that you'd be able to buy at Payless, which I actually don't think Payless is a thing anymore, but you get the gist. These are very cheap shoes, priced up to ridiculous luxury prices, and everybody thinks they're amazing. And I'm not going to lie, at one point I also did the same thing. So during COVID, I was a full-time sneaker reseller, a lot of the Jordans, a lot of the Yeezys, and I'm not going to lie, there was a lot of money coming in. I was making a lot of money every single day, shipping out tons of shoes, and that made me end up buying some very expensive shoes in my collection. Now, they all ended up being like Nike and Adidas. It wasn't like I was buying like Dior or Gucci shoes or whatever, but these are all the same quality shoes, just with the logo on it. None of these shoes are really made any better than anything else, and I spent quite a bit of money, I'm not gonna lie. Just to name a few of them, I've had Purple Lobsters, I've had 2015 Chicago Ones, I've had the Strange Love Dunks, I've had the Union Black Toes, Off-White Air Force One Volts, the Off-White Vapor Maxes, all of the original 350 V1 before they restocked. I had all 4 colorways, and I think my most recent one that I got rid of, well, honestly a while ago. I haven't been into shoes for quite a while, but the last one that I had that was very expensive was the Travis Scott Fragment Lows. Those were about $1,000 there too. And I mean, at least I had somewhat of an excuse that a lot of money was coming in and it was actually my business, but at the same time, it was really stupid because if you know anything about sneakers and the sneaker market, over the past couple years, replica shoes have become so unbelievably good that it's very, very difficult to differentiate real from fake shoes. You have entire subreddits dedicated to it, r/rep sneakers, where you could just see tons and tons of pictures of all replica shoes, but there are such minute differences, if not almost no differences at all in some cases on shoes, that honestly nobody would really know the difference. There's been several shoes that companies like Stockx and Goat have stopped selling on their websites because the authentic factories in China were making a specific shoe, and then those same workers would use the same materials to make extra pairs to be able to sell as replicas, but they're actually the exact same. So there's no way to differentiate what was real and fake, and that's happened several times with Supreme shirts, several different kinds of shoes, and it's gotten so bad, or technically the replicas have gotten so good, that even Nike has bought items from authentic guaranteed places like Stockx, proving that these items are not authentic and they're actually selling fakes.
I'm sure most of you know what Stockx is, essentially the middleman assuring all of us that we're spending our hard-earned cash on 100% legitimate products. I mean, they have this posted all over their website. Their proprietary authentication process can be trusted 100%. What about when Nike comes along and produces actual evidence that Stockx is in fact selling fakes? However, when the creator of a lot of these products that Stockx sells comes out and says Stockx cannot be trusted, it gets us all a little bit more skeptical of their legit checking process. So here's what happened. It all started when Nike filed a lawsuit against Stockx for their NFTs, which Nike claimed these NFTs were a trademark infringement on their product. Things went a little bit quiet in terms of the lawsuit until today. Nike has come out and said they've purchased 4 counterfeit sneakers from Stockx between December 2021 and January 2022.
And if you're a big sneaker guy, I know StockX gets a whole ton of hate that it's super easy to get fakes on there and all of that. I will tell you firsthand that the same thing happens on Goat. It also happens on Flight Club, and I've personally had several of the different legit apps that you'd get on your phone taking a whole bunch of pictures of the shoes. When I would get shoes in that I knew were 100% fake, I mean, one of the easiest ways is the smell of the glue is very, very strong, especially on replica shoes that were just made, and I've had that happen several times, and to get my refund and prove that they were fake, I would use these legit check apps, and they would pass when I knew 100% that they were fake. So honestly, it's a complete crapshoot if you get real or fake shoes. I'm not telling you to buy replica shoes, but they are basically the exact same quality as the authentics now. So the whole sneaker market is completely muddied with it. So I think we'll end on this note because of how popular it's gotten to have luxury items and to show it off online. We're getting to a point where there's a whole bunch of people now who will just fake the amount of wealth that they have just to try to gain followers on Instagram or YouTube. And that does also tie in with a lot of the replica market. People wearing fake clothes, people wearing fake shoes. But some people have taken it even farther, like we're going to see in this clip.
With private jets costing anywhere from $3,000 to $18,000 per hour, that's a whole lot of moolah going around. Well, most likely it's because they're not soaring the skies in these pictures. Instead, they may be squarely on the ground, booking out one of the many fake private jet studios that are intended just for taking photos. That's right, there is a whole business of studios where you can pose and pretend you're on a luxury private jet. Sure, these studios may have originally popped up for movie or commercial sets, but nowadays they found a customer base and people trying to flex a lifestyle they don't truly have.
And that could go as far as faking vacations. Obviously, like I said before, all the stuff that they're wearing, you know, the jewelry, the shoes, the clothes, all of that. Same thing with renting supercars. That's a huge thing now. People will take a million different photos making it look like they have a Lamborghini when all they did was get a one-day rental, all just to make it seem like they are higher status than other people, that they have more money, they have more wealth, they're happier, all of this kind of crap. And I mean, maybe it'll slow down because we're starting to get into a downturn in the market, the recession. So there's a lot of people who would stretch to look like they're wealthy who are going to start really hurting pretty soon, if not already happening now. So maybe some of this stuff will die down, but it is still popular now more than ever. So I'm not saying that you should never ever get a luxury item. It's a complete waste of money. And I mean, I guess bang for the buck it is, but if you could easily afford it and you're never complaining about finances ever or any sort of issue with markets or real estate or investing, and you just have an unlimited amount of money to blow, then sure, buy a $50,000 purse or a $100,000 watch. Who cares? A lot of people nowadays are just trying to keep up with the Joneses, I guess even surpass the Joneses, when they clearly don't have the funds to actually have that lifestyle at all. So that's the end of this video. YouTube thinks that you'll like this video up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.